Hey guys, just speaking here to Alaa Dalghan about blockchain and investing in digital assets and what makes a digital asset something worth investing in, and how do you decide which is better than the other when there's something like 5 to 10,000 coins showing up. How do you decide?
Great question, Tom. It's a jungle out there when it comes to the amount of new coins or new projects hitting the block each and every day. So I will advise anyone who wishes to foray into this new and exciting world to follow the same rules that I follow in my own industry. First of all, rule number one, only invest the small part of your disposable income that you can afford to lose. Number two, go for long-term investment, buy and hold strategy, what we call HODL in the world of crypto, and do it consistently and with a good discipline. And rule number three, never invest into a coin or a crypto if you don't research the project enough, and if you don't believe in the future and in the utility and in the application of this project. So if you only see a coin that is pumping 100x or 200x, that's not long term if it's not going to be there in 2 or 3 years. And this would be my top 3 advices.
Okay. And when it comes to investing in blockchain and crypto projects, it's a slightly different world than it is to more traditional investing.
Yes.
But I assume some things carry over, right? So in traditional investing, most important things we look for is revenue, is a cash flow, is to make sure that there's not sufficient debt or too much debt, that kind of thing. But those metrics are very hard to gauge in blockchain projects.
Yes.
Are there metrics or numbers or anything you look for first and foremost before you even start doing your due diligence? You see a number and you go, red alert, or this is interesting?
Yes, 100%. There are a lot of metrics and a lot of fundamentals that help you decide whether to foray into a crypto project. You might not have a metric like the debts carried, because the crypto world is different than the stock world in that it's not, they don't take a corporate debt. It's all financed via ICO or initial token offering. And it's not a company per se, it's a DAO, most of them, especially the really decentralized ones. But there are metrics and key fundamentals to look at. Always look at the project utility first. Look at what these guys are trying to do. If you look at Theta, for example, they're trying to disrupt video streaming, disrupt YouTube and Spotify and podcasts in a decentralized way. If you look at Helium, they're trying to disrupt IoT networks and 5G networks and democratize coverage. If you look at all of these currencies that are popping up for the gaming world, I know you're very interested in gaming, and you will see those cross-gaming props and NFTs on top of the blockchains like Engine or Flow or Mana. There is a utility there, there's a market application there. But if you're looking at solid mathematical metrics, I would advise you look at the tokenomics, how many of these tokens are out there, how many are in circulation, how many are allocated to the main team, how many are left in treasury. Also look at the chain analytics or the on-chain metrics. The beautiful thing about blockchain is you don't need to wait for your quarterly reports. All you have to do is go on chain metrics and read everything that is happening and every single transaction. And number 3, I would really advise to always subscribe to the feed of the team, whether it's a Telegram channel, whether it's a Discord channel, whether it's the Twitter account of the founder and the main people. Follow them, follow their announcements. All of these information together will allow you to form a very good, informed, educated idea about the project.
Okay. And do you think there will ever be a day, because obviously at the moment to sort of gauge how projects are doing and how crypto's doing, there's obvious places like CoinMarketCap and that sort of thing, but do you think there'll ever be a space for monitoring or following Bitcoin or crypto projects in similar way that we kind of get the complexity that we do for finance. So, for example, it could be something like Yahoo Finance, but then we could go to Seeking Alpha and all that. Do you think there will be a time for when we be able to have? Because the problem is you kind of need you need each project to buy into this, right? Because they need to be able to share. They want to share their info. And do you think that's something that
I would bet on that? I know we are still early. I mean, this sector moves so fast that people think because we're only we did not have enough mainstream adoption in a couple of years for DeFi projects, for example, that's already too late. The expectation of speed in the technology world and the crypto world and the DeFi world is very high. So yes, we are still pre-maturity when it comes to that market compared to the well-established stock market or financial market. But I would bet that as we mature more and more into the plateau of productivity in our growth curve, we'll have much more visibility. We will have much more journalism and analysis around that market. We will have much better tools to analyze the performance and to convey all of these information to the layman rather than the hardcore fan.
Yeah, the nerds.
The nerds.
Yeah,
we're nerds and proud.
Yeah, I have a question then, and I'm not sure if you've thought about this, but and we had a discussion before we came on that we're into also more traditional investing methods. We're open to pretty much anything, right? And the one thing I've always had an issue with in the blockchain, it's not something that can't be overcome, but one of the things is that a lot of cryptocurrency projects treat their coins as both a currency or fiat and an equity. And that is difficult for a lot of traditional investors because to spend your coins to make purchases lowers your portfolio. It kind of expands your portfolio, which you are hoping to build. So for example, I'm a gamer and I love NVIDIA's products, but I would never buy an NVIDIA graphics card with an NVIDIA share. I would never spend them shares to buy graphics cards. So what do you say to more traditional investors who say, well, I like Ethereum and I like this, but it's counterintuitive because to buy something, I have to spend my equity.
Yes.
So what do we say? Well, what is the...
This is a very good point. I don't think all crypto projects should aspire to be currencies. And I don't think all of them are. I think most of them are not. So Bitcoin set up to do a currency, a payment, a digital payment, but then ended up to be a store of value for a long time until the Lightning Network came, and now it's fast and you can do payment and currency with it. But you're right that Bitcoin is an appreciating asset, and you wouldn't want to spend an appreciating asset to buy anything, a commodity or a product. So there will be other options for you. Some of them stable coins, some of them Ripple or Stellar, who are focusing on these payment applications. As for the others, from day one, don't look at them as currencies. Look at them as digital assets that you're investing in a project. But instead of owning a share in a company like the traditional world, you are actually the client and the owner in the entire project and the entire future of that project. Let me give you an example. If you invest in Engine, okay, or in Mana, you are already investing in the future of NFT gaming, in the future of owning props and selling props and exchanging props in the virtual world, right, in the metaverse. So when you buy these tokens from these projects, you're not buying them to spend them on shopping from Amazon. No, you're buying them because you believe in the future of this technology, because you are a member of this community, and because you appreciate the fact that creating this community is what created this value. The value of the token is in the network effect, is in the community that believes in this project. And you are part of that. And owning a piece of this token, of this project, means you own a piece of this network and hence a piece of its value. And this is definitely not for spending.
Yeah, no, I think one of our speakers yesterday, Isabella, said something that I think was quite poignant, is that if you purchase an Amazon share, which is about $3,000 now, Jeff Bezos is not going to give you the time of day. But if you put $3,000 into a token for a thing, you can talk to the CEO and say, hey dude, I love your project, I love what you're doing, I'm jumping on board, which is obviously one of the benefits. Whereas for traditional, unless you have quite a big, holding,
Yeah,
you're not
welcome
really
to the decentralized world, right? Welcome to the world where money is democratized, raising funds is democratized, the social media behind it is democratized, and everything is a DAO instead of being a corporate. So instead of having a steep hierarchy like you would usually see on Wall Street or in Silicon Valley or in traditional firms, now you're interacting with a DAO, and you will find young people who are happy to talk to you. From the C-level to the developers level to the Scrum Master, everybody is excited to share their experience with you, to evangelize their project, and you will find a lot of readiness to listen to you, to talk to you, and to discuss different ways where you can invest in the project.
Okay. And then I think maybe the last topic I'd love to talk about is a little bit of gaming. Obviously, you've brought up some blockchain games,
Yes.
and obviously I'm a gamer, so and this is obviously we've announced the launch of Helicon NFT,
Yes.
which is our NFT gaming platform. And is there something that sort of you find interesting about blockchain gaming, or is there something is it something you've looked into? Because obviously you've brought up some projects, but kind of where do you stand on blockchain gaming?
I wouldn't call it only interesting. You would call interesting some small headlines that appear on the ticker of some TV news stations.
Yeah.
I would call NFT gaming paradigm shift. We all know that gaming, as it is in the centralized world, was one of the largest industries already in the world, bigger than the music business, bigger than the Hollywood,
Bigger than both of them combined.
bigger than both of them combined.
Yeah.
And now you come and bring that beautiful interactive world to them. And now they're not only one way where the game creators create and operate the company, and then the players just play. No, the players are part of the game now. There's a full economy inside of the game now. There's full personalities with these avatars inside of the games. I remember in the Social Network movie, Sean Parker said, we lived in farms and then we lived in cities, and now we will live on the internet. This was during the rise of Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I think now with the rise of metaverse, this is the fourth stage of our evolution. And gaming will have a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see what people like projects like Engine are trying to do, props inside the game are already very valuable to gamers. My brother is a gamer. I know a lot of gamers who are very passionate about personalizing their avatar inside the gaming universe, but B, owning these assets inside of the game. And when it was centralized and the game owner could shut it down at any time, like one famously did to Vitalik Buterin,
Mm-hmm.
which led him to create Ethereum as a decentralized platform. Now you recognize the value of having all of these on a decentralized platform. Engine is trying to do a cross-game props marketplace for NFT based gaming assets. Axie Infinity is now a very popular, more than 1 million active user per day. And if we compare that to traditional gaming, like what Ubisoft does, like what all of these large games do, the difference is in Axie Infinity you get paid to play the game. So the value is not only flowing one way from gamers to companies, it's being created within the project, and it's being shared within the project. And you know what? Who is listening? the traditional gaming companies. Just last week, Ubisoft announced their foray into that NFT world. So now people behind titles like Assassins seen what is happening in the Axie Infinity world and the Engine world, and they want a piece of this world. It's gonna go only bigger from here, Tom.
Okay. I think the one thing, I think the most important takeaway, I think, for both of us though, is Engine is a really cool project, but Helicon NFT is an even cooler project.
Awesome.
So,
I would love to learn
more about it. So what we're trying to do is bridge games, which effectively are centralized applications, and they're like that for a reason, right? We don't want high ping, we don't want high latency, so we want gamers in the same server because we need them to be as close as possible so they can be competitive and have 144 frames a second. But what we don't want to be centralized is their wallets.
Yes.
So what we're using NFTs as is a bridge. So what we're saying is we love games, we love all the games that are out there, we love Counter-Strike and League of Legends and all these games, but what we want to fix is not the games, what we want to fix is the economies. And so what we're doing is we're taking NFTs and we're using that to bridge decentralized wallets, MetaMask, what have you, to the centralized games. And so because of that, you don't even need to build a blockchain game. You can retrofit any game to become a blockchain game. So our API is actually quite open. Think of it like DirectX or Vulkan. What you do is, as a developer, you can nominate or choose which in-game assets you want to tokenize, and the API handles it, uploads it to the markets, and mints it on behalf of the gamer, and then applies a royalty for both the developer and the gamer. And so when you're playing a game and you're like, oh, I really love this skin, I've done a lot to it, and you sell it, now you sell it and you make some money from it, but every additional sale, you will earn a passive revenue from the royalty. So will the developer, which means that the developer doesn't need to focus on the upfront costs of $60 or, because then you tell the gamer, do I buy your game or do I buy this game? Whereas you don't want that. You want them to play both games, and the one they continue to play is the one that will generate the most value for the developer, right? So
this is fascinating.
So that's
you're offering even traditional game developers a shortcut into this new world of NFT gaming and blockchain value gaming.
Yeah, because developers are very good at making games. Yeah. The complicated part is the tokenomics and the platform. We've figured that out, and what we've said is, rather than you trying to launch your own tokenomics and compete with a million other platforms, is we'll do that. We'll give you the API, you plug your game in, and Bob's your uncle, fun, and you're ready to go. And the cool thing is, because everything is controlled by one single API, you as a game developer can say, well, I really like this project that's currently available in the marketplace, so I want to nominate their NFTs as usable assets in my game. And so anyone who owns those NFTs can now use their NFTs from another game in your game.
Nice.
So maybe you have a collectible card game, so now all of a sudden those are now collectible cards. Or if you have a racing game, design 3D avatars.
NFTs.
Yeah, so and I think, the most obvious applications are sequels. When a new sequel comes out, you can move your assets from one sequel to the next without having to start all over again. But also publishers, say Ubisoft has a number of games in their so it's very easy for them to make sure that all games have a use for NFTs across the games. We're hoping that one day, developers will work together to kind of see uses for each other's NFTs. We don't mandate that though, that we prescribe it, but we don't mandate it, because ultimately the decisions for what makes a game good should be down to the developers and the community.
100%.
And so that's...
And what I like about your approach is you are not hardcore ideological on the decentralized part.
No.
You're saying, you know what? Centralization is good when it comes to low latency, when it comes to high frame rate, when it comes to good gaming experience. But decentralization is good when it comes to value, when it comes to tokenomics, when it comes to actually involving the gamer in the value created within the game. So what you're doing basically is you're getting the best of both worlds in your project.
Well, that's the thing. We love traditional games, and we have a lot of traditional gamers. And we've noticed that a lot of them are kind of struggling to find an entry into blockchain games. And we don't want that. There shouldn't be one or the other. You should be able to do both. So what we want to do is give them the option to keep playing their favorite MOBA or first-person shooter, but maybe earn a revenue from it.
Awesome.
If you want to get more nerdy and involving yourself in the staking, and that's also an opportunity. Obviously, we offer like staking, and we have a really cool thing called a master NFT. And so we've got 9 liquidity pools where we use those, a yield aggregator, to ensure there's always liquidity flowing through the marketplace, because we know NFT marketplaces have been struggling with liquidity. So we've kind of made sure that we've got these 9 pools that ensure that staking keeps tokens locked up. But what we've also got is something called a master NFT, which you can think a master NFT, which you can think of as a governor of a liquidity pool, and you can purchase it and own it for 24 hours. And during that 24 hours, you will earn 1% of all trades and 5% of all mining that happens in your liquidity pool.
Fascinating.
After 24 hours, it goes back to the market, so no one can monopolize it.
This is gaming meets NFT meets
DeFi. That's it. I mean, it's a lot of words.
Yes.
So,
but they make sense. It's not blinding by big words. It's you articulated beautifully. So where can people get more information?
So so Helicon NFT, you can find our website. You can just go heliconnft.com, but we'll be launching our economy in the beginning of next year, and we'll be showing our first games very shortly after that. And yeah, it's gonna be one hell of a ride. So
I have zero doubt that you guys will be successful.
Well, I hope you're gonna come play some games with us.
Yeah, happy to.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's all the time we have.
Beautiful.
And if we keep going, I'm sure we could. So
we could go for hours, and you talking about these things.
No, exactly. So let's wrap it up here, and then I think maybe we'll be able to chat again soon.
Sure.
Awesome.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much.
And great event.
Yeah, thank you.